So last week on The Big Story, we left Joshua, who, by the way, in the Bible is known as Joshua, son of Nun. Well, that's funny. And a couple of his mates looking over the big river and seeing the promised land in the distance and wondering to themselves whether they're going to be able to get there and inhabit it, even though it's what God has been promising all this time. God says to Joshua, don't worry, catch this. Be strong and courageous, for wherever you go, I'm going to go with you. That's a good promise to hang on to for life, hey? So, Joshua decides he's going to send 2 spies over the river to check out the entire land and especially a city called Jericho. Next thing you know, these 2 guys have found a place to stay. They're staying in a hotel run by a lady named Rahab. Remember her name, she's important. Before you know it, the spies were hiding behind a curtain in Rahab's house. Shh. When you're spies, you're supposed to be incognito. Nobody's supposed to know you're there. And there's just been a knock at the door. Rahab goes to the door and she opens her front door to discover a couple of big, burly soldiers from the king's palace. We've heard that there are some spies in the land from the Hebrew people over the river. Have you seen them? Oh, yes, I think I did, says Rahab. I think I did see a couple of strange-looking blokes. Yeah, they went that way. Thank you very much, say these big guards, and off they go that way. Rahab goes back behind the curtain and gets the 2 spies and says, psst, you can come out now. And then Rahab and the spies have this conversation because the spies thought whilst they were hiding behind the curtain that surely Rahab is going to be saying to the guards from the king's palace, they're behind the curtain. But she didn't. She saved their life. When she could have got them into extreme trouble and difficulty, she didn't. She chose to save them. She chose to send the guards that way. Why on earth did you do that? Say the 2 spies. That's incredible. Rahab's answer is this. She says, I've heard everything that God has done for you and your people. I've heard how he got you out of Egypt. I've heard how he's blessed you. I've heard how he's given you the law. I've seen what wonders he's done among you. And I know that God is the true God of all people. And I am on his side, which means I'm on your side. Wow, say the spies. Listen, you know we're going to be invading this land to come and take it soon, right? I know that, says Rahab. So here's the deal. I'm going to let you out of the window of my house on a big rope and you can escape. And the guards went that way, so you head that way. And if you run that way, you'll find some hills and you can stay there for 3 days and here's some food. In 3 days' time, the big stupid prison guards, they'll have forgotten where to look. They'll have given up and you'll be able to go back to your people and you'll be able to tell them everything you've discovered. Here's the deal. When you come back with your army, you have to remember me, says Rahab. You have to remember my family. And anybody who's in my house on the day you come back with your army, you've got to protect us, keep us safe, leave us alone. Sure, said the spies. That is a good deal. You saved our life, we'll save your life. And so Rahab hangs this little red thread inside her window and she says, tell everybody in your army, if they see a red thread in the window, protect that house. So the spies shin it down this rope outside of Rahab's window and they run that way and they stay there for 3 days until eventually they can go back to Joshua on the other side of the river and say to him, I think God was right. I think we should be strong and courageous. I think he not only will go with us, I think he's gone ahead of us and he's prepared some people who are on our side. And it's weird, Joshua, but it's going to be okay. So what do we learn from our story today? Well, first up, be strong and courageous, even when it looks like you're facing massive challenges, because God is always with you. Secondly, Rahab, who knew? In this people group, in this place where God wasn't supposed to be, because I thought he was supposed to be with the people of God in the desert. Turns out God is everywhere. Turns out there are people all over the place who might not look like us or speak our language or come from our same backgrounds, but they know God super well. And they are also part of his story. So much so, in fact, that remember the name Rahab, because in a few generations' time, her family is going to give birth to King David, who's going to be incredibly important. In fact, if you track even further, she's going to be not only King David's great-grandmother, she's going to be in Jesus' family tree. Nobody saw that coming. In other words, look out for the activity of God absolutely anywhere. Number 3, behind the curtain is a great place to hide.